If there's a problem, maybe run through a conversation in your mind before you call or text, but make the time to reach out to them and try to have some conversations and just see what's going on. It may be that they need your support in some way or vice versa. All right, let's see. I feel like technology is working today, but the lawnmower guy also is working today. So I was trying to wait for him to finish, but apparently he just wants to hang out today and just mow the same patch of grass. So I apologize if I'll try to speak loudly so that you can hear me over the ridiculous lawnmower, but hello and welcome. This is Wednesday Woo. I am 𝗫𝗁𝗁𝗵𝘁, your tarot life planner, and Mercury is in retrograde, y'all. So if you are not sure what that's about, I'm sorry, my cat also would like to hang out with everybody today. So I got a lot of things going on. Here she is. Okay, she really wanted to make an appearance today. This is 𝗁𝗁𝗁𝗵𝘁, y'all. Say hi if you're going to be up here. Hey, everybody. Hey, okay. Can I finish now? All right, come back later. Thanks. So, hey, y'all. This maybe is going to just be a weird day today. I feel like that's the theme. So, yes. So, we are talking today about Knight of Swords, but I think it's important to talk about what's going on with Mercury retrograde. I want to let you know, and I mentioned this last week, but I started taking this astrology course. So maybe one day in the future, keep an eye out. I might be offering some astrology services, but it's been really helpful to start to learn more about how, the planets certainly affect us individually, as a group, as a society. And so when we talk about Mercury retrograde, and I usually bring this up when this happens, it happens 3 times a year. Hey, boo. So Mercury is the planet that kind of rules communication, right? So anything that you can think of that involves communication, that involves air signs, right? So when we talk about air and talk about communication, it's not just speaking, it's listening, it's the way that we receive information. So however we're thinking can be affected when Mercury is in retrograde, affect us in a way that may seem jumbled, you may not be clearly understood in some ways, or you may not be understanding information the way you think you are. So, a lot of people are like, oh, am I not supposed to sign contracts or get married or do these things during Mercury retrograde? Absolutely not. I mean, you got to live your life, right? You may have a lawnmower guy who wants to be under your window, but instead of walking outside and cussing them out, right, you have to take that little pause, reflect on the situation, and think about, do I want to cuss this person out, or do I just want to let it go and let him finish doing his job, right? That's kind of what you want to do for Mercury retrograde. Just take a pause to second, check yourself 2 or 3 times before you send off an email, sign a contract, all those things. That's it. So I want to just give that little disclaimer before we then move on to talking about what's going on this week. So tell me if you have felt it. This has been a weird energy week. Now, if you saw the full 5-card spread that I had this week, really the first half, so our spiritual connection card, our health and happiness card, and our love and relationship cards were all major arcana cards, right? So there are certainly big life lessons that could be happening this week. A lot of things could come up. Let me, my other camera never works when I do these live, so I can't switch over. But so we had the Judgment card, we had the Star card, and we had the Lovers card come up. in the first half of this week. And so all of those pieces combined really are about not just thinking about what you've done, right? The Judgment card is going to get you to this point. It's almost the completion of that big circle of life lessons. So the Judgment card is just before the World card. The Judgment card is the one that indicates reflecting on the choices that you've made and coming to terms with them, right? Sometimes it feels really heavy. That card usually looks pretty dramatic because we tend to judge ourselves very harshly and not in a neutral kind of like, these are decisions I've made, shit happens, now how do I move forward? But as our spiritual connection card this week, that Judgment card is just a reminder, especially I'll throw Mercury retrograde back in, especially this week where you may feel kind of all over the place with your thoughts. And again, the information you're receiving, it's important to consider judgments, how you're judging yourself or how you're judging your others around you. It's important to take that step back and really be as neutral as you can, right? Not overly harsh for no reason, but just recognizing, identifying what has happened, and so that you can then make decisions to move forward, right? But judgment can, again, feel kind of heavy. And then we had the Star card, and that was in our health and happiness position. And again, that is very much about not only reflection, but really finding ways to replenish yourself, right? And again, if you go through that process of judgment and you can be in a neutral space, then the Star card is about just kind of being with your thoughts, being with your feelings, recognizing what you need to start feeling better, to start feeling happier and healthier, and allow that to happen, right? So sometimes we do get to the point where we recognize, right? We get to the point where we recognize that, okay, this is what I need to do. These are some things that I maybe need to let go of. These are some things I need to do more of. And then we don't take it to the next step, right? We actually have to put that into action. And that's what the Star card is really reminding us, that you can't just think about these things and then not put them into action. You have to take the time to replenish yourself. And then we move right into the Lovers card, right? And so that is, it was in our love and relationships spot this week. And, the Lovers card isn't necessarily about, sexual partners or intimate partners. It's about partnership, right? And we just moved into Libra season, right? You all know I got a good crowd of Libras in my life. And so thinking about lovers this week, and I mentioned again in the video, or if you get my newsletter, that you may have found, if you look back, let me know if this, I certainly have experienced it, but pop in the chat and let me know if you have spent an unusual amount of time thinking about other people this week, right? Not in a necessarily good or bad way, but in like your focus may really be drawn to what's going on with other people, right? Whether it's in your business or in your personal life. That's what the Lovers was really kind of indicating this week, that we, all these things combined, this reflection that we really need to do, may really be about these partnerships and this collaboration that we either have or need to have in our lives. And so the people that are, drawing your focus this week, reach out to them, have conversations, right? Again, Mercury retrograde, right? If there's a problem, maybe run through a conversation in your mind before you call or text, but make the time to reach out to them and try to have some conversations and just see what's going on. It may be that they need your support in some way or vice versa, right? So that then brings us to today. I know this was a long way to get here, but with all this energy, I felt like I needed to process that a little bit with you guys. So then that brings us to our Knight of Swords card. And so I'm just looking at it here. I actually can pop it up, when I'm live sometimes. This other camera doesn't want to cooperate. So let's see. Yeah. So the Knight of Swords, and again, sorry, I can't zoom in with this camera here. So the Knight of Swords energy, and we've seen a lot of Knight energy lately. It is the suit, Swords is the suit of communication, right? It's the air sign. So back to Mercury retrograde. And I'm going to say that if you are a Libra or you're an air sign, especially, this Mercury retrograde may really be challenging for you because, Libra is all about finding balance, finding coordination between two things, mediating two things. And when that's out of sync, when that's in the reverse, that really can make you feel off balance. And people that have a lot of airs in their charts, again, everything that they're doing revolves around communication, revolves around how am I connecting with people from a communication standpoint, right? But this Knight of Swords, and I'm going to kind of talk about the pros and cons, if you will, of this Knight of Swords at this particular time. So the Knight of Swords is about communication. It is about, that Knight energy is, wanting to rush in and do a thing, right? Like just full speed ahead. The Knight of Swords in most decks is usually the one that, of the 4 Knights, this one always looks like most in motion, right? To me, even more so usually than the Knight of Wands, which is the actual action suit. So the Knight of Swords is about moving forward with ideas, right? Again, talking to people, taking that initiative when it comes to anything to do with, again, communication. And sometimes we forget that communication is supposed to be a two-way street, right? You're not communicating with someone if you're just talking. And conversely, you're not communicating with someone if you're just listening and never giving any feedback, right? And so this week, with all the other reflection cards and big energy cards of this week, during a time where we all need to really check ourselves a little bit around communication, this Knight of Swords has the potential, certainly, if you have really done the work, right, of those other 3 cards, if you are really conscious of that, this card has the potential to really move you forward in a beautiful way and make you feel really confident about picking up the phone and calling this person that keeps coming to mind, right? Or people or groups of people, right? Having these conversations that maybe you've put on the back burner and you just can't do it anymore, right? So that's the really helpful energy that I think we all could use from the Knight of Swords this week. Now, I will say that the flip side to this, I'm sorry, I'm just looking at our weekly picture again, too, of all the cards together. The flip side to this is because Mercury's in retrograde, because there's a lot of big energy this week, when you rush forward without doing the work, without thinking through why you're reaching out to people, why you're bringing up your ideas and trying to communicate with others, can not end well. Okay. I mean, I don't like to be too negative about things because I think there's always lessons to be learned. But to me, it also feels this week as kind of a warning that yes, right, you may have some big ideas that are coming through that you want to start pushing forward. But just be mindful that you have to not just come in and try to save the day like the Knights want to do. You have to be able to come in with something of value, right? If I go back to this communication being a two-way street, you have to be ready to not just, here's my idea and this is why you should follow my lead. You have to also then be able to get the second piece of that and listen, right? Not just so superficially listening to get yourself ready for a response, but really listen to the other side of this conversation that you're having, right? So when I put, that you're ready to set your ideas loose on the world this week, yes, I feel like this Mercury retrograde in Libra is going to have you wanting to talk even more, maybe more than you normally would. I mean, I'm a chatty person in general, so I guess for me, I feel like sometimes the reverse. Like I tend to shut down a little bit, Mercury retrograde. But for folks who are not naturally chatty or communicative, you might feel these next couple of weeks like you just got so much shit to say, right? About everything. That you're just talking just to be talking. And, you know, there's lessons to be learned from that. And certainly, again, I think part of this energy is that you are going to have these sparks of ideas, these new things that are coming up for you that you want to share with people. And that's amazing, right? I always want you to shine. I am a big proponent of showing up and shining bright no matter what, right? And just remember that you can do that without like giving everybody else sunburn, right? So I know a couple of people who, you know, have a lot of like Leo energy, even if they're not Leos. They need to be center of attention. They need to be front and center. They always have things to say. And, you know, that energy can be like really fun and keep the party going and get people up and moving around. But it can also be really draining, right? For people who don't need all of that. And this Knight of Swords kind of gives me that same sense for you, right? So your brain may be creating all this new beautiful stuff that you're like, yes, let's talk about it, let's move it out. But either find people who are kind of in that same space and know you well enough that you're not just, that, you know, it doesn't seem unusual, or again, take the time to step back and ask yourself, okay, am I in a space where I can talk about these things and listen to the response to that? Okay, so let me know if that makes sense for you. And I also want to mention, you know, while I give you some time if you got any questions about that or about anything else, I do want to tell you a little bit about, I'll take this Knight of Swords down. So anyone who has known me since at least June, if you follow me on social, you saw in June, one of the fun things about me is that I love costumes. I love getting dressed up. I love, as a pagan, obviously, I love Samhain, and I love, you know, the idea behind Halloween. Any chance that there is to put on a costume, I'm usually down for that. And so, hello, Friday is October, which means that it is the perfect time for me to shine and have on costumes, right? So what does that mean? So that means that throughout October, I'm going to be putting a bunch of information out there to start showing up, right? And putting on, I'm not going to say different personalities, like not who you are, but showing up in different parts of yourself, right? So in October, I'm going to really be diving deep with everyone. I'm going to be talking about them here live kind of everywhere, but in the WTF with Mel Facebook group specifically, we're going to have an extra day, at least one extra day every week, where I'm going to be diving deeper into each of the elements, right? And we're going to put that together with, I mean, if you want to wear costumes, if you want to send me some pictures, I'm going to be requiring and requesting all of those things from all of you. It's going to be super fun. So I'll give you some more information on Friday about that. And again, if you're not already in the Facebook group, make sure that you get over there so you see all that's going on. But yeah, again, each week, we're going to start with water next week. So each week I'm going to really be diving in, and we're going to be trying on the elements all of October so that we can really, again, start connecting more with ourselves. It's going to be really important during this Mercury retrograde that we are tuning in to what's going on. And that first element of water, you know, it's all about cleansing, getting rid of shit we don't need, connecting to our emotions and our intuition. So we're going to start with that next week, but I'll give you some more information on Friday. So keep an eye out for that. And let me just see. Danielle says, I'm noticing that I'm ready to go inward and get clarity with myself so far this retrograde. Yeah, it is. It's a perfect time, especially for you as a Libra. And the fact that, you always do want balance as a Libra. You're always looking for coordination, for making sure everything is going easy and smoothly and cohesively. This retrograde for you as a Libra can really kind of knock you back on your heels. But if you are able to just recognize what's happening, right? Whatever situations are coming up, when you recognize that, oh, okay, yep, I see what this actually is, not, what I thought, judgment card, not what I am worst case scenario thinking about. What can I do about this then? What can I do a little bit differently? Right? So, it'll be a little challenging, but, as a Libra, you're going to come through. You're going to find that balance one way or another. So wonderful. All right, y'all. Well, I don't see any other questions. Yes, excitement. Yay, yay, yay for costumes. I will let you see. I will also remind you that though after today, so October, I probably won't show you this post because there's another lovely giveaway that I always have around the elements that I will be sharing with you all throughout the month of October around connecting to the elements and the beautiful guided meditation. But 2-minute tarot is always an option for you. So if you have a question and you're not sure that you're ready for a full reading, maybe you just found me recently and you're not sure if you're into the whole tarot reading thing and how that can be helpful, try it out. That's what 2-minute tarot is for, right? 2-minute tarot is you send me a question. I'm going to send you a video reply that's about 2 minutes long after pulling one card for you. And it's just a little tiny little snippet, right? If it's something that you're like, okay, she seems pretty cool. Let me go ahead and book some time with her. You absolutely can do that. Don't tell anybody, but you actually get a little discount if you book after you get a 2-minute tarot. If you don't, if you decide like, you know what, I just needed that little boost, thanks. It's all good. That's okay too, right? I'm ready for you when you're ready for me. So check that out. And if you got any questions, you can always let me know. Put it here in the chat. I will check back later, or you can always message me. Thank you as always for being here, showing up. I love you all. Stay strong during this Mercury retrograde, y'all. And stay magical. Bye.